Firstly, thanks to the Immigrant Council, as always, for coordinating such a brilliant webinar, and thanks to all the speakers that I had the privilege and pleasure of listening to this morning. So as an evaluator, really, as Nusish says, my job is to say, did they do what it said on the tin? So did they, as they set out to do, did they follow their intention? And really the evaluation, the target audience is the funder. But actually, as an evaluator, I think it's really important to pull out what this programme has done, because the lessons are so valuable, not just to the funder, but to member states and to many stakeholders across Europe and globally. I'll just make a couple of observations about my journey with the programme and the work that I have seen achieved, concluded, and the impact that it's had. And we've heard really about it this morning, so I don't want to echo the brilliant presentations that you've already heard. First and foremost, I would say that the programme has been really successful in amplifying the need for gender-specific services, legal response, and how that supports a woman's who's been trafficked integration, and particularly this cohort of women that they're working with. So the amplification of the need for that is really, really important. And I think Miria really affirmed that when she said that continuously people are trying to turn the dial away from gender and away from the need for gender-specific services. So it's why this programme of work is so unique and so important. The second observation I would make is that this programme is built on the expertise and experience of many, many years across many, many jurisdictions. So while the programme is really innovative and unique in the way it was structured, and I'll make reference to that, organisations like the Immigrant Council, Just Right Scotland, they have been providing legal response and representation with a gender lens for many, many years, as have all the other partners. And we've heard about that. We've heard about the level and the range of expertise that always considered gender in their responses. And that's how this programme is so impactful, in my view, that it's built on that experience. Mary talked about early legal intervention as being crucial in the legal response. And already the Immigrant Council was funded by Europe to look at early intervention with some of the partners. So building on that programme of work. I think as well the partners had real clarity around what they wanted to do. So they knew that gender was important. They took the learning from Europe, which recognises gender, which recognises the link between gender and exploitation and gender and migration status. It took the knowledge that we have, that Miria gave again, noted some of the examples. So it took the latest thinking in policy, both at a European level and at a national level, and it informed the programme with that. So building on experience of years, taking the latest thinking. And then, in my view, they built on that evidence base. Jennifer really articulately described how in the initial parts of the programme, when they were looking at service delivery, how they asked women, what would this look like for you? What would an optimum response be for you? And that informed the service delivery agreements with partners. They asked women who'd been trafficked what information is helpful, and it really informed the information and materials that were developed. It took 50 cases, so it provided a gender lens and a gender-specific response to 50 cases, analysed that, asked what worked and didn't work. Mary gave a really good example of good practice and what had worked, but she said there were other examples that hadn't worked so well. So all that learning then developed these best practice principles that Nusha and the ICI and the partners were launching today. So all that richness of learning that Europe now has and member states now have about how this gender-specific service can aid integration from the start of the journey to getting response to the very end, and the different contributions along the way. That the programme, that this EU programme has documented that for us, and there's so much learning. It's like a blueprint. The peer-to-peer support and the survivor input into the programme is unique as well and so valuable, articulated by Jennifer and others throughout the morning. So that survivors and victims of trafficking were crucial in the conceptualisation, in the design, in the implementation and delivery, and in the evaluation. So all that experience to support others, to support in the design, as I say, of services, and Beatrice now is going to tell us about the peer-to-peer support. And again, I had the privilege of interviewing some of the mentors and mentees, and there's no doubt in my mind of the value of that service and how impactful. And again, Jennifer gave us some quotes from some of the women. So the programme is unique, it's invaluable, it's innovative, it's informed by years of experience and expertise and an intention around gender as the rationale for why this happens, but also informing the response. And the other thing that I would note in conclusion then is that all of this has been documented in a way that's really helpful to others, that's really helpful to member states, that's really helpful to other services, whether they're new, whether they're existing and want to incorporate a gender lens. And I hope that Europe is listening, and I was delighted to see Declan here as well from the Irish government, just because the importance of continuing to fund a response when you can see the difference that it makes on a woman's journey. The quote I remember from Jennifer in the peer support, she gave me hope along the journey to recovery. And I'm paraphrasing, so I may not be giving it the gravitas it deserves, but that hope and that women got, as well as the practical support from legal to trauma-based counselling, to accessing education, to accessing employment, and all the supports that needed for a woman along the way from a gender specific. The programme has documented that really well, and the final part, I suppose, of the programme is the dissemination of that. So the national webinars that won today, the European webinar, and also then all the media and the social media around it, plus the quality outputs that have been provided. So they are my observations. I'd like to say congratulations to the Immigrant Council of Ireland, congratulations to all the partners, a huge thank you to the very brave women who've been trafficked, who I suppose facilitated the learning that will be shared with so many. A huge thank you and congratulations.